Tell you what though, folks, I'm really looking forward to trying out the butter food. Well, I won't say that much because I think that the butter might give me fat. Well, unless if I spread it with toasted on it, or crumpets, as I would like to call it that, but that's just how it is for me for my breakfast. Hey, what is up, ladies and gentlemen? I'm Mickey Mouse here once again, and I'm back for some more of the Maxi Toys videos. And ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to more Let's Play of Kirby's Adventure from the Nintendo Entertainment System, or NES for short. So anyways, last time we actually did explore through Festival Valley and of course Ice Cream Island, both worlds 1 and 2. And today for this episode, folks, is the fact that we're going to be moving on to the third world in this game, which is in forms of butter building. Because even then though, that butter building means is actually a letter beginnings of those sequences is in forms of B. So we got V, I, and now B, which means might actually something related to a VIP. Which, not to be confused, as the PlayStation 1 title called VIP Ribbon, or Ribbon I should say. But even then though, that we're not gonna get into the actual name coding on this game until we get to the 7th, or probably the 7th world I should say. But even then though, we're not gonna get into that just yet. But anyway, so yeah, we got ourselves a mic yet again, so even then though, that this is where the later level starts to get really shines of how the fact that we're gonna be containing a lot of secrets in here and now this time around though, which I think this is the level is a prime example of how the fact that we're gonna have to find tons of secrets in this particular game. So if we get into this room over here, now originally as you can see we got ourselves a giant switch. How do you get it exactly? Well, when you're normally trying to first time playing the game, that you normally enter that door over there. But it turns out if you think there's actually a bottomless pit down there, but there wasn't a bottomless pit because there's actually this little 2 star blocks, which if you manage to destroy that, you enter a door, and then if you actually destroy the bomb block over there, enter that door, and boom! The switch is now active, and basically what this does is that not only does it able to actually access to new areas of the world map, but also actually regenerates your health every time you get hit by enemies. So even then though, really nice and very refreshing at the same time too. So yeah, that makes it pretty obvious what this little scenarios like that happens. So hey, at least it's kind of cool. Anyways, and at the same time, if you didn't grab the switch in during time, the door will somehow goes into a still glowy star onto that door, because even then though, if you grab the switch on the other hand, the door itself will change into white. So even then though, that this means you have 100% everything. So even then though, I found, you know, in the first world and the second worlds that it doesn't require a switch to able to 100% it, but until world 3 and onwards, it requires the 100% completion. So even then though, that makes it pretty much, you know, entirely optional to you, but if you want to actually get yourselves the unlockable mode in this game, you have to be sure you need to find every single switches as you can. Because, not to mention with all this little, accessibility from different, ways of the actual world map, but also you can able to actually just to see if your 100% completion is about to be increasing. So, that's just how the system works with the 100% completion about this game. So, anyway though, so yeah, there's not much else I could really talk for this point, folks, because today was actually forms of the 24th of January in 2018. So that means of how the fact that I've actually ordered myself some abundance of new DVDs I'm about to be ordering. Well, they won't get arrive until in the next couple of days, excluding the likes of the one DVD, which I did manage to pre-order, and it will arrive until sometime in March the 12th, which even then I'll get to it down the list. So even then first off, we managed to order ourselves Digimon the movie, which is, in my opinion, probably one of my favorite childhood memories of that film, alongside with Ants. That is one of the also one of my favorite childhood films I actually did watch and enjoyed it even to this day. But even then though, that could be the same applies to Digimon the movie. I know some critics do hated it, but I'm pretty sure enough that some Digimon fans I've noticed is that it might be very similar to Pokemon, except, well, everything's all in digital instead of, like, pockets and all that stuff. Because what makes a big differences between Pokemon and Digimon is the fact that, well, if you manage to notice something from the full name of these two franchises is that in the Japanese version of Pokemon, they normally call it pocket monsters because Normally you get a Pokeball that actually represents you fit the balls in the pocket, and you can able to actually capture Pokemon into the Pokeball, so that way it makes it up to be more accurately pocket monsters. Because even though you can able to actually you know, create your team when you're able to actually fill the Pokeball into your pocket, so that makes it pretty obvious. And then in Digimon, on the other hand, that normally it calls it digital monsters. So even though that makes it pretty obvious because of how the fact that monsters do usually comes out with a digital device instead of the pocket. So even then, I can definitely tell there are some noticeable differences. Plus, I've realized about something is that between Digimon TV series and alongside with the Pokemon animated series, Pokemon doesn't talk that much unless if you're actually watching the movies, like Mewtwo from the first movie, for example, and Lugia from the likes of you know, Pokemon the movie 2000, and excluding Entei from the likes of Pokemon the movie 3, but it's just an illusion for the sake of, like, you know, the girl's father and all that stuff. But even then, no, that's all I can really say. I think it's Holly. I think that's what her name was, because even then, it's been a long time since I actually watched Pokemon the movie 3. But, and I've noticed something in the, Pokemon Jirachi the Wishmaker actually has a talking Pokemon there, but even then, no, and among with the others, well, some exceptions, mind you, which are, well, Pokemon Forever, because of how the fact that, I don't know, what do I think, and that could be same applies for, Pokemon Heroes, or aka Pokemon the Movie 5, and that's how it is for me, and also that dreadful Pokemon the Movie 7, in my opinion, just because I still really think this is actually the weakest Pokemon films in my entire life for me. I cannot for the life of me, I cannot freaking stand off the character development for Tori. I mean, it looks kind of reminds me like Riku for some reason though, from Kingdom Hearts, except doesn't feel as strong compared to how it does it where Riku does. So, that's just how it is for me, with those little different character differences between these two franchises and all that stuff. But anyway though, yeah, that's all I can cover from Digimon the movie. And speaking of such, I managed to order myself Pokemon Heroes, the movie. Now, I've managed to order the old version of Pokemon Heroes DVD, because as far as I've noticed is that in a later re-release version of Pokemon Heroes is that I've noticed that it does have a lack of content, which that's what usually does happen during the likes of the manga DVDs nowadays, especially noticeable how the fact that back in the day, they got really, really cool extra special features and all that stuff. Like, take, let's just say, take Wallace and Gromit, The Curse of the Were-Rabbit, for example, that it does contain 2, disc DVDs and all that stuff. And one of the contents actually retains how this Wallace and Gromit get into, Hollywood. Which, to me, I found was a really interesting information. And every nowadays, though, is the fact that, especially in TV series nowadays, that it just gets lesser amount of content, like the manga series, and also My Little Pony Friendship is Magic DVDs every nowadays, which is a shame. But that's just how it does, though, every now and then, though. But anyway, yeah, I've now got myself 13 lives, excluding 14, because of, you know, if you get the 0 lives count, you're still able to get 1 life left. So, you know, just like how it does in the Super Mario 3D games, is that, well, yeah, that's as far as I can go for these parts. Well, the only exception being is for forms of Super Mario 3D World, and especially noticeable with Super Mario Odyssey, because Super Mario Odyssey does not have extra lives on that game. But even then, yeah, as far as I can tell, because of how the fact that between these two franchises, the 3D Mario games and the Kirby franchise, is actually really, really cool whenever you're trying to able to actually just get, like, you know, one last chance with the 0 lives counter on you. So even then, it just makes it a little bit more, well, cooler than that literal retrospect. And of course, we got ourselves these little bounty of enemies to deal with, much like how it does it for last time. So, again, in order to actually deal with these guys so easily, is the fact that we need to inhale them, and just trying to able to swallow them, or just simply reflected them back as a projectile. So yeah, that's all how it goes with these parts. So, oh god, I lost my sword. Oh, that's just terrific. I need to grab the maximum tomato right there, and I think the level's actually already over. Seriously, these levels are super short. way more shorter than the likes of Kirby Streamlands, that's for sure. Well, until when you get to the future Kirby games, is that these levels can get, I don't know, something a little bit more longer, as far as I'm aware. But even then, though, we're not going to get into more details as soon as we're able to actually come towards those stuff. But anyway, before we get to the next minigame, as you can see right there, the new minigame, I should say, let's go ahead and entering level 5. And I believe, this level might actually retain the secret switch somewhere, although I may be wrong about that, but even then, no, I will definitely have to check this out though. But anyway, right off the get-go, we got ourselves a hyper ability mode at this point in time, because, you know, this particular sequence is really cool, is that it almost feels like 3D environment, but technically it doesn't, because even then though, that this is in 8-bit after all, until when Yoshi's Island exists for the Super Nintendo, that it does have a really cool 3D effect. Well, thanks due to this little FX chip on here, which means is that there's going to be more revolutionary graphics standpoints, which can be the same applies to Star Fox 1 and Star Fox 2, because those two games, specifically if you ever play through the Super Nintendo Classics Mini entry in 2017, that, man, the visuals on those two games were really in 3D. Come to life though, kind of think about it though. Anyways, we got ourselves Bonkers. I'm not kidding, that's what his name, Bonkers. And yeah, all he does is that basically he's just trying to able to kill you with a hammer, and he's pretty simple if you know what you're doing. But even then though, that we got ourselves a hammer to deal with from our copy ability, and we can actually get ourselves not only the maximum tomato, but also the 1-up as well. So yeah, that's really awesome. So hopefully I can get my... Oh, so close to get a 1 though. Could've, would've, should've, that doesn't really matter for me. Okay, that level does not have a switch, but I believe level 6 actually has a switch. But before you enter that, quick draw. When the enemy draws, press the A button. If you press it too soon, you get a penalty. So this is technically a, well, just a timing, you know, shooting quick draw syndrome. And you only have like 5 levels to deal with this particular minigame, though. You have to press just only one button, and obviously forms off just the A button, but you need to be fast and reflex ability with this minigame, because when it says fire immediately, it's your chance to able to actually knock out those enemies instantly. So, that makes it a little bit more easy at the same time, but other times though, it makes it really damn difficult. Like, take level 5 for example, in this quick draw game. Normally I'd take down Bonkers no problem, but the final foe right here, King Dedede with his top hat, that, he just goes really damn quick. With all his aiming shots, he actually just managed to pull this off. But if you manage to knock out, 4 of those, foes, then, you guarantee you get yourselves an extra 1-up. And I believe if you knock out, King Dedede, if I could record, you get like 3 or 2 1-ups. I can't really, predict on that one, because... for the life of me, I can never seem to beat him on that minigame. Kind of think about it though. But anyway, so let's go ahead and just... Oh no! Okay, good. Thank God I grabbed the hammer for almost a drain time. And there's another... Oh, don't... Oh, phew, that was really lucky. Got ourselves some slopes right here, or the slants rather. And I believe if I could recall that level 6 actually retains the secret switch. Oh, please don't tell me. Oh, thank God. Thank God I got my hammer though, naturally though, but anyway, yeah, back into what I was saying about these DVDs I managed to order for myself, actually. Not Blu-rays though, because even then, that, well, I usually more stick with DVDs, although the quality itself might be a little bit more average compared to Blu-ray, versions of the films themselves. But the only trouble is, though, is that some of these films never saw the light of day on the Blu-ray release, like Ants, for example. That, it doesn't have the Blu-ray re-release yet, but even then, I felt really, kind of sorry for that, actually. Anyways, if you bust for these blocks over there, and go all the way to this door here, it's really, oh yeah, in this part, you need to be really fast in this part, because if you don't make it in nick of time, chances are you're probably not gonna get it. But if you actually went through there, you get yourselves not only the soda bottle, which actually refills your health, but also this, new switch as well. So even then though, that way we can actually access to the egg catcher minigame too. So yeah, I think that's all we can do in level 3, because there are only about, you know, 2 switches in this world. So yeah, as far as I can really tell for this point and onwards. Oh yeah, at some points in the actual levels themselves, actually, here we got ourselves our light copy ability. What this does, this happens. If you manage to get into this dark room, as you probably couldn't tell already, everything else is fully light up, assuming if you actually just be more... If you really be expert at this game, you're probably expecting to be able to deal with this particular section in the dark. But if you're first-time casual players out there, then I highly suggest you're able to actually just, you know, use that light copy ability immediately. So just in case you won't able to get confused or lost or even get bumped into enemies too many times. So yeah, that's all I can really comfort about it. But even then, that's all I can tell. So anyway. Unfortunately though, I've actually got about 4 units of health left, which it might be kind of a problematic though, actually, because the next boss in this game, which we're about to be hitting to later on, but even then, first things first, we got ourselves a really cute victory dance. Man, I love that jingle. Especially noticeable, it's really common for the most Kirby games out there. But anyway, yeah, let's go ahead and play the egg catcher game and what have you, so that I will hopefully try my best to able to get extra lives, although it's not been possible though, so... That was such a pathetic attempt, I might add. Oh, I have no idea what I'm doing. It's probably because I wasn't paying attention with King Dedede's pattern. Okay, so my health slowly regenerates after we enter in the minigame and what have you. I might as well get ourselves a high jump actually, although I might be, kind of useless in this boss, but even then though, that I might as well just to demonstrate of how the fact that that ability can do, some damage on this boss. So here we go, folks, on to the third boss in this game. Not only one boss, but 2 bosses all in one. So here's, Mr. Shine and Mr. Bright. So, basically, he comes in with a, few, variety of patterns. Is that, as you can see, Mr. Shine, or in this case, Mr. Bright, I think, that, he just goes in the background on the top of the actual arena itself for the whole time. And then, what he's trying to do here is the fact that he'll constantly shooting out these, shooting stars right at you as a projectile. You need to be very careful though, like I was doing like an idiot right now, because I have no idea why, because for some reason my button doesn't react to in time, which even then though, that can get a little bit annoying though, especially compared to the future installments of the Kirby games. Like, I've died right here when I've not meant to inhale the projectile because the cutter ability does not able to work out. But even then though, that sometimes my jump or even my inhale button doesn't seem to register in my life. But even then, until, you know, before the future entries, that it fixes a lot of issues we have with it. But even then, let's just go ahead and take down Mr. Bright. Or actually Mr. Shine, I think that's what this guy is actually known as. Because basically the sun is more accurately Mr. Shine, and Moon is actually Mr. Bright, if I recall that correctly. But even then, yeah. So yeah, he constantly switching around all over the place. Like, for instance, is that the sun or the Mr. Shine is going to be taking over with the attacks, and then the Mr. Bright can do some slight variations of those attacks, like the boomerang attack right there. And yeah, you got to be very careful though, because both the not only did the actual sun almost trying to kill me, or in this case Mr. Shine, but also the moon will, the Mr. Bright will also trying to hurt you if they transform into a different portions of the actual themselves. So anyway, I swear to God, my jump button is not even working. So anyways, all you have to do is very simple if you know what you're doing. The hardest part about this boss fight for me sometimes is the forms of how the fact that you need to memorize the attack pattern sometimes, and even then if you know what you're doing. And basically those two actually share the exact same amount of health as each other, but even then that's what makes this boss somewhat a bit unique. And that's why it makes the day and night system, which even then that was before when Mario Party 6 exists. With the day and night system, especially Sonic Unleashed and Mario Party 2 Horrorland. But yeah, that's kind of cool. Level 4, Grape Garden, which in this case we've now got ourselves our G letter. So, like we've got I, B, no, forget what I said. V, I, B, and now G. I mean, what's it gonna be next then, huh? Well, we'll never know, but even then, we'll just try to actually figure this out though. But anywho, yeah, Grape Garden looks very similar to how it does in Bubbly Clouds from Kirby's Dream Land, because as far as you can tell, this world is going to be the entirely focused on clouds. So even then, no. Well, that was a really bad start, and this part. Yeah, I died pretty quickly in this particular section, so I probably could keep that in the video, but you know, that's kind of sucks. Because I can never really tell what the actual background environment was, though, but even then, no. I need to pay attention with the visual standpoints to next time for this point, but anywho. Yeah, again, not much else to say, besides, you know, Pokemon, Heroes DVD that I've now finally got. It's probably because I remember that a long time ago, I actually had a lot of fun with the trivia game, and especially Can Pikachu, the Pikachu short in Pokemon the Movie 5 most likely, because I have no idea why Pokemon Forever doesn't include that own Pikachu short film, enjoying the likes of not only for the VHS, but also for the likes of the DVD release in here and there too. I know technically the American version got it. Oh yeah, if you enter this particular hidden alcove door over there, then this will give us not only the Switch, but also actually access to the Crane game too. So yeah, I don't find that to be a lot more harder to actually find. Here's one of my favorite Kirby abilities in this game, and in majority of the actual Kirby games actually, announcing forms of the UFO. What's cool about this UFO actually is the fact that you can actually take control of the UFO itself, and what you can do with it is the fact that, oh, don't tell me that yeah, thanks a lot, Tornado Enemy, you son of a basket. Anyway though, yeah, there's not much else to really say. Oh yeah, there's one of these annoying emphasis where if you think about it, if you're able to survive with just a little bit of health left, but for some reason the enemy was there at the very end of the level with the gold door. That's why it tends to really catch me off guard at one point sometimes, but even now that's just not that much of a problem. At least I find though anyway. Yeah, as far as I'm aware, is that, back into what I was saying about Pokemon Heroes, actually, that the reason why I've got the 2000, the original version of the copy of the DVD itself is because I've heard that, Studio Canal, version of that film, that who else also did done Pokemon Forever, but unfortunately though, it does have pretty much lack of content. The only content they've got in the 2015 re-release version of Pokemon Heroes, which are just the scene selection and the setup, which that's about it. And I'm sure enough that Pokemon Destiny Deoxys UK version actually has a really bare bones content here, like just play the film and scene selection and that's it, which I found is really disappointing, which even then, I still really think that Pokemon the Movie 7 Destiny Deoxys is still one of my least favorite Pokemon movies in my entire life. Because, I don't have that much of an issue with Pokemon the Movie 6 on the other hand. It's pretty good, for the most part though anyway, but it's just really bad that Pokemon the Movie 7 is that, well, it just constantly, the plot in that film is all over the place, if you probably did not know already, but even now, that's just how it is for me. Plus, I think Pokemon the Movie 7, while I do agree some of those, people out there for Pokemon Forever that, the CGI has gone pretty horrendous, but it doesn't even compare to how it does it in the real CGI or the computer generated people. Oh god, in Pokemon Destiny Deoxys is the worst example of how the fact that CGI, especially with the computer generated models, does not work for me at all. Probably due to how horrendous the 3D renditions of the characters are. Mainly the townspeople most likely, that seems out of place for me. So anyway though, yeah, that's all I can say about Pokemon Heroes, actually, from those of you who might have missed it. And quite frankly, for this point, folks, since those 5 films were based off of from Generation 1 Pokemon TV series, the one with, as you expected for Ash Ketchum, he was actually the main character of the entire franchise of the Pokemon animated series. But I've now finally got ourselves all 5 of the first 5 selection of movies, which even then though, which usually involves around Misty and Brock for our entirety of the journey. The only noticeable exception is the forms of the movie 2000 because Brock wasn't there until I'm assuming the credits roll. But even then, it's been a long while since I actually watched Pokemon the Movie 2000, though. I kind of think about it, though, along with Pokemon the Movie 3. But that's just how it is for me, so, and thanks a lot, you stupid buttholes. And conveniently enough, though, is that it decides to kick me out of the room, which even then, that's really unfair. I can't say that much until now, though. But anywho, so yeah, another film I did recently manage to ordering itself, and that was the films of The Incredibles 2. Which, kind of thing about it though, we actually got ourselves, still only got about 6 more months left upon releasing it on our country. Granted, that's only because of how the fact that, the reason why we've got The Incredibles, the first one, from the Pixar film is probably because of, well, as we expected, that The Incredibles 2 will be on its way on the theaters this year. So even though, I need to actually watch the first film first before I jump into the sequel, which even though, I'm hoping it wasn't a prequel of any kind, but even then though, that if it was a prequel, much like how it does in Monsters University, and even the other prequel Star Wars trilogy and stuff like that. Now, as far as I've heard is that, until, I know this wasn't real yet, but even then though, I've heard there are some rumors out there, for those of you who have become a, the My Little Pony fan, specifically the Friendship is Magic version of the show, and even especially noticeable with the Brony community, what was I trying to say here? And I do apologize for how the fact that my, you know, I'm wasting all my breath due to how the fact that I've been done so much for me today, but even then though, that, I've heard there's gonna be making a prequel movie to My Little Pony the movie during 2020, although I'm not exactly sure just yet. But even then though, as a matter of fact, that Season 8 is almost going to be getting really close to releasing at this point. But even then though, that until 2019 I've heard that there's going to be the final season of the actual show itself, The Friendship is Magic, My Little Pony. Which I kind of felt a bit sad about this during next year, because after that they're going to be moving on to the next generation, Generation 5. But even then though, I don't know of how that generation will hold up, but even then, I'll try to figure this out though, assuming the future years will come. Until when it gets to, well, after the Season 9, in this case, the grand finale of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic seasons will about to be finished. When it gets to 2020, among the same year as when Tokyo 2020 Olympic Games in Japan, and especially notable with the Super Nintendo World's amusement park on Universal Studios in Japan, and even especially notable with the Super Mario Bros. Animated movie by the same developer who done, you know, the Despicable Me series, including the likes of Secret Life of Pets. Which, I found that film to be quite dull and boring, to be honest, because even then, it kind of feels more like a rip-off to Toy Story does. But anyway, though, yeah, I was really hoping that, in 2020, it's going to be the 10th year anniversary of My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, those of you might have missed it, especially if the bronies out there. And I was probably thinking about something related to, let's just say in an episode compilation or in this one box set. I might decide for you guys to decide of how to think that it will be true for making My Little Pony the no, not My Little Pony the movie, My Little Pony Friendship is Magic, the top 100, because I say that because, I was making as a, well, something more likely a reference to a 3DS Mario Party title called Mario Party the Top 100, but I feel like I was going to be thinking of the exact same thing for My Little Pony Friendship is Magic 10th year anniversary, which is a project named My Little Pony Friendship is Magic the Top 100, because what I can describe as from my certain descriptions from it is that it actually brings us 11 episodes in all 9 seasons, which even then I'll let you guys decide on the comment section below. Which, if you like that idea, then I highly guarantee by that, but even then, I don't know exactly for sure though, but even then, we'll never know. So anyways, we're done with level 3, and I've accidentally skipped the secret switch in here, which if I guessed incorrectly, yes. So, I'll meet you guys back until I find a switch. Jeez. First miss on the entirety of the 100%. Actually, kind of thinking about it though, is that in this level right there, it almost kind of reminds me of almost related to the Metal Island from Tails Sky Patrol for the Sega Game Gear, kind of thinking about it, because you gotta have a lot of blooms everywhere, which even then though, that makes it almost exactly similar to the actual fortresses from the likes of, well, Metal Island from Tails Sky Patrol, which is a Japanese exclusive Game Gear Sonic title. But even then, that's as far as I can see. But if you go all the way to the far right, like I've accidentally ignored, then this way you get yourselves a switch, so I'll meet you guys back. Alrighty then, so we've done with that, and now we move on to level 4. I really get the feeling that this level might not contain a switch in here, but let's go ahead and go in here. Oh god, here we have the worst selection of copy abilities in here. Between Sleep, which becomes the most annoying power-up introduced in the Kirby franchise, and especially the Ball. Between these two power-ups, especially copy abilities in general, these two are by far the worst copy abilities you're ever going to be experiencing in this game. Because, let's get down with Sleep first. Sleep, if you manage to able to get that copy ability, what it does is that you can just simply just sleep, and no way to attack enemies with it, unfortunately, so you just have to, like, you know, try to get some sleep and hope for the best, and that's all it does. However, though, it doesn't even compare to how it does it for the Ball, because the Ball, copy ability, quote-unquote, it's more accurately a, I don't know about you, but even then, I found that copy ability to be quite useless, because what it gets is just basically you act like a ball, and what it does? Nothing. Besides, if you're actually just trying to jump around all over the place, the only time you can't do with the ball ability is that you can't attack enemies, which even though that can really tick me off, and especially noticeable that you can't do anything with it. Oh yeah, if you be fast enough right there, especially with the wheel copy ability right there, he gets us an extra life. So yeah, that's really awesome. So, and then let's get into the final DVD that I've managed to pre-order it actually, and that's the forms of Paddington 2. Because I really do enjoy the first film back in 2014, and oh god, I got caught by this little weird turtle enemy for some reason though. I always kept on calling this a turtle-based enemy, because look at him, it feels more accurately almost like a shape like a turtle, because of the back shell and all that stuff. Because, normally he did manage to strike me for almost instant. Yeah, they done it to me again, shoot. I'm guessing just trying to throw the projectile right back at him is a lot easier than the likes of using the copy abilities to begin with though, unfortunately, even though it's old school as you expected it to. But anyway, yeah. So as far as I've noticed something from the get-go is that, you know I mentioned this before, of how the fact that, oh actually Mario Things sort of mentioned about this, but how the fact that Cap King 74, not only does he actually come back for this kind of stuff, but he's also doing his new Let's Play, actually. Now, originally he was decided to go ahead and finish up with Super Luigi Galaxy and during the likes of the future time. Unfortunately, he decided to actually close that because, first off, I'm presuming he actually did lost all of his, original files. Or maybe something related to he's moving on to a different projects and all that stuff. Mainly, The Legend of Zelda Breath of the Wild, which even then though, that's, I'm considering this might actually be the first ever Zelda game he's ever going to be tackling through his YouTube channel, actually. All technically, Hyrule Warriors does actually count for that kinds of stuff, but it's more likely a spin-off, because even then though, that, well, it's more likely a combination of a Zelda, universe and, Dynasty Warriors franchise, so that makes it pretty obvious. And while the gap going, level 5, we got the Invincibility Lollipop, so sweet, lovely victoryness. Victory is mine, idiots! Well, at least I was expecting that, though, naturally. But anyway, I don't think we can do it in here, because it's all you can get in here is basically just soda bottle you get, and that's it. So that makes it pretty much situational if you want to able to provide that, but hey, at least it's something. Anyways, let's get out of here, and we can able to continue on, and, yeah, as I was saying about Paddington 2, the DVD that I did manage to pre-order it, I've heard from Rotten Tomatoes things that is actually really well-received film back in during the likes of 2017. And as far as I'm aware, that film is easily the best film that's ever been released on 2017 because it actually has 100%. No negatives or anything, no gripes we've had with it, because even then though, that, well, it's superb. But anyway though, again, not much to say because of how the fact that, you know, yeah, that's what I can say about DVD releasing, stuff and all that kind of premise for this. Besides that, we've got ourselves, let's just say, 12 more days to go until the My Little Pony the Movie 2017 DVD release will be on its way in during 12 days time. But I know it's already been released in North America, probably due to how the fact that... What I found is kind of strange though actually, is that in the North American version of the DVD itself, in the previous selection, they actually include Shaun the Sheep the movie. I think it's probably due to how the fact that that film, at least in North America anyway, did manage to distribute it by Lionsgate, which can't be the same applies to Early Man in you know, the USA version, but it's more accurately just the Summons logo with the Lionsgate company, which even then though, that at first I thought that the Early Man was going to be on those previews on My Little Pony the movie 2017 film, but turns out it was Shaun the Sheep instead. This is probably due to I'm assuming this is probably due to kids friendly or something like that, or maybe PG related films did manage to recently came out of from, but I don't know about you, but anyway. Alright, here we go with level 6, which even then though, I could assume they might actually contain a switch in this level, which even then though, that, hopefully I might get myself some chance here, so even then though, that, yeah. As far as I'm aware though, is the fact that much like in World 3, about a building, basically that it goes in the exact same levels, well, at least few exceptions mind you, which is on level 3, that's how the fact that level 3 actually retains a switch, but even then, I kept on getting confused with a lot of few points at this point, ladies and gentlemen, that's besides the point, but anyway. So let's go ahead and just face off against with this little TikTok enemy right there, which even then though he's pathetically easy if you know what you're doing, especially with this little, you know, the constant musical notes he constantly sending out, which even then just makes this mini fight really easy, so even then that's all I can really tell. And we got ourselves this sequence right there, and this is what the sequence switch comes in, is that normally as you can see right there, I'm actually entering almost at the left side of the pillar, and that way you should be able to get yourselves a switch, which is this way you can able to get into the next Star Rod station, which even then, you know, it's pretty worth it though, especially noticeable how the fact that, you know, if you want to go back in places and all that stuff, rather than just continuously walking back and forth between these few areas. What you normally do with this in particular, if you want to get that switch normally, is the fact that you need to obtain the light copy ability, and then that way you should able to actually just, you know, get that switch activated, and I'm sure enough you might as well get that way, so that makes it pretty obvious. Alrighty then, so let's go ahead and just get into the store here. Now there's actually a 1-up right there, which I might as well get, but in order to actually do that, I need to turn into a stone copy ability right there, and able to actually go for this sequence right there. I suggest you go and press the one on the right, because if you accidentally press it onto this direct center, it blocks the actual 1-up block, so even then that makes it pretty obvious of that strategy going. And it looks like we're going to be actually approaching towards the end of the actual level itself, so before I end it off though, I'm actually going to be attaining the high jump copy ability because, a few reasons, is because, well, we'll do this bonus game thing first, before we're able to actually just to finish up with World 4, in this case Grape Garden actually, and even then though, everything else about this world, it should be swell. So anyways, here we go with the next boss in this game, but before we get into this kinds of stuff, let's go ahead and double check off every single 100% completionist about this world. It looks like we pretty much found everything around here, so yeah, let's go ahead and jump into the 4th boss in this game, which, to be more accurately, the returning boss of this game, which is the forms of Krako. We start normally off with Krako Jr. right there, but then, basically, in order to deal with this particular phase over there, or this section rather, is the fact that we need to use the high jump copy ability, which is the copy ability I highly recommend to use, that you can able to climb up easier. So even then though you don't have to worry about the Krako's attack pattern. So if you go all the way up to the top, this is where you're able to fight Krako normally. So again, it makes this boss a lot easier compared to how it does in Kirby's Dream Land, in my opinion, just because you need to use the high jump ability so that you can able to deal damage on this particular Krako. And then if you do that, yeah, you're gonna have to be careful with the positioning to yourself, even with the high jump copy ability in mind. Because if you manage to able to actually do not pay attention with the angle shape, especially of the angles of the jumps and stuff, you're gonna get hit easier. So yeah, that's what I can really tell about this fight. So there we go. That wraps every single part in Grape Garden, and we're pretty much at the halfway point of the game. Because we've done through these 4 worlds of this game so far, so even enough, not too shabby, not too bad either. Level 5, or World 5, Yogurt Yard. So now we have Y. I really love this scene here. Oh, poor Kirby. He accidentally drops himself his maximum tomato right there. I felt incredibly sorry for him. So anyways, folks, we're gonna have to end things off here, so tune me next time on Let's Play Kirby's Adventure. It's the fact that we're going to be moving on to the 5th world in the game, Yogurt Yard. So see you guys next time. Later, fellas.